What if we use the RTX 3060 to play the latest games on the 4K monitor in 2025? Because why not? Let's find out. To test this, I'm using the Asus Dual RTX 3060 12GB version paired with the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU as part of my Be Quiet PC build. And we'll be experiencing the games today on the best monitor money can buy. This is QD OLED MSI 272URX. Amazing monitor. OLED cannot be beaten, simply because it offers true black colors, insane contrast, and amazing motion clarity. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. There is no need to spend that much money on Windows 11 Pro when you can get it much cheaper at cdkeyoffer.com. Additionally, use discount code iVadim to get 25% off and bring the total price down to $22. Furthermore, you can find Windows 10 Pro as well as Microsoft Office at much cheaper prices as well. Get yours now at the link in the description below, and don't forget to use discount code iVadim to get 25% off. Let's start with Path of Exile 2 at native 4K resolution using NVIDIA DLAA. All the graphic settings are maxed out. We are not using dynamic resolution or dynamic culling. I think it's fun to see where the RTX 3060 stands right now at native 4K, and it's better than I expected, actually. Inside of the town, we're getting close to 30 FPS. Obviously, that's not going to be the case when we start fighting. The FPS will drop to something like 20, so I don't think this is an acceptable level of performance. And yet, it is still somewhat impressive. Let's make some adjustments right away. Let's lower our shadow and GI quality to high and enable resolution upscaling. Let's set it to balanced. Balanced DLSS looks brilliant on the 4K monitor, so if we're gonna get a playable experience using these settings, I'm gonna be well impressed. Okay, in the desert level, we're getting 70 plus FPS out of combat, and as we enter combat, let's see, will it drop by a lot? 61, 53, 50 FPS was the lowest I've seen. That's pretty nice. However, this level over here is a little bit more demanding, as you can see. Even without using any skills, we're already dropping to 50 plus FPS. Let's start the combat, and yes, indeed, I've seen 38 FPS just then. So it's not quite a great experience, still playable, but not perfect. We should make some further adjustments to the settings in order to get a good experience. First, let's lower that resolution upscaling. Let's set it to performance mode. That is 1080p upscaled to 4K. We're now getting 60 plus FPS out of combat. And as we enter combat, let's see, 57, 48, 47. Yes. We're still not quite there in terms of like performance targets. I'd like to see 60 plus FPS consistently, but this is not too bad actually. This is impressive. Just take a look at that. The RTX 3060 4K screen. The image still looks beautiful, and we're getting 50 plus FPS. Nice. Let's see what else we can lower. The most expensive setting here is shadow and GI quality. Let's set it to low. Okay, we're at 70 plus FPS right now. Let's find some enemies to fight. Oh my god, where'd they go? There we go. They're on me right now. Oh, elite enemy. Yes, let's go. 51 FPS was the lowest number I've seen so far. This is actually pretty good. 53, 56. I wouldn't mind playing the game like this, it's smooth enough. Yeah, brilliant. And just remember that this is one of the most demanding areas in the game. If we enter another area, the FPS will be better. Check it out. In the desert area, we're getting 100 FPS. Nice. And even as we begin to fight and cast spells, 65, 63 FPS. This is a pleasant experience. I cannot ask for more. Beautiful. We could improve FPS further by lowering resolution upscaling quality to Ultra Performance. This is 720p upscaled to 4K. The image still looks fine on the 27-inch screen, but we certainly begin seeing some image quality reductions in the finer details. So the image presented on the screen is not as sharp. Although I can't argue with the performance numbers. Take a look at that. 78, 83 FPS. Nice. Take a look at this. A lot of enemies. 79. Yes, let's go. Oh my god, they killed me. 62 FPS. That was a lot happening on the screen, and still brilliant experience. Next up, Stalker 2. This is a much more GPU demanding game. That's why I think we should start using high graphics quality preset right away. There's just no reason to bother with Epic, which is the highest one. Yeah, I selected high, and we are at 4K resolution, field of view 100. As always, we'll start with native 4K resolution using DLAA, and then we'll use resolution upscaling as needed. Yeah, you see, even using high graphics quality preset, we're getting extremely low FPS. 18, 20. Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to play the game like this. It is absolutely horrible. Let's do something about it. I don't like how medium graphics quality preset looks, so we'll try and stay at high graphics quality preset if we can. And for that to happen, we'll have to use DLSS resolution upscaling. Let's start with quality mode. Okay, this is better. 30, 29 FPS, but we're still nowhere near 60. And that's what I'm aiming for when I'm playing shooter games, at least 60 FPS. Well, if there's gonna be drops to 50-ish, I'm fine with that if I'm using a budget-friendly GPU like the RTX 3060, but 60 is ideal. Let's speedrun this and lower the DLSS quality to performance right away. We are getting closer to our target. We are now firmly above 30 FPS, close to 40, although it is still not enough to enjoy the game in my opinion. Let's try DLSS Ultra Performance. Alright, this is better. We're firmly at above 40 FPS, 50 plus indoors, nice. Although the the image quality is suffering because we're using DLSS Ultra Performance, and it doesn't work very well in this particular game. It worked quite well in Path of Exile 2, but Ultra Performance in this game doesn't look as nice because there's just so many small details like the foliage and stuff that DLSS just can't handle it. Upscaling from 720p is difficult for it, and this is still DLSS 3, not DLSS 4. I wonder if DLSS 4 will improve the image quality at lower modes. That's definitely something we have to explore when it comes out. Alright, the only option we're left with is to lower graphics quality. Let's set it to medium and bring DLSS up to performance because performance looked okay. So let's stick with that. Yeah, we are still at 40 plus. And 39 FPS I've seen just then, so yeah, this is not great, not great. Even if we could use DLSS frame generation, it wouldn't have been a great experience because we are dipping below 40 FPS. And I already can see that the lighting and shadows don't look as nice as they used to on high. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we'll have to try low graphics quality preset in this game. Let's go ahead and select that. By the way, I'm relaunching the game every time I change graphics settings to ensure that the graphics settings applied correctly. And yeah, even on low graphics quality, we're still barely making it past 40 FPS. This is quite disappointing, but it is what it is. These Unreal Engine 5 games are extremely GPU demanding, but at least it is still playable. 40 plus FPS in one of the most graphically demanding areas in the game is not too bad, because in other areas you'll get 50 plus FPS, maybe even 60. But the game doesn't look as nice. The reflections, the lighting, yeah, everything is just doesn't look great. It is certainly not a worthy 4K experience. Unfortunately, we don't have DLSS frame generation, but we do have AMD's FSR frame generation. And let's go ahead and try that, shall we? The image fluidity certainly is nicer, because we're now getting above 60 FPS. However, there are all sorts of visual issues, like there's some frames left of the scope and the gun as we move the camera. You see that? It's just, yeah, this is not nice. You're gonna be looking at that all the time. I don't think it's worth it. I hope that NVIDIA will bring DLSS frame generation to the RTX 30 series cards. They did say that they're looking into that, but it won't be at DLSS 4 launch in January. Who knows, maybe sometime later this year. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. Alright, let's disable FSR frame generation and lower DLSS quality to Ultra Performance. This is more or less the only way to enjoy Stalker 2 properly. 50 plus FPS, low graphics quality preset, ultra low DLSS upscaling. The image presentation on the screen is not as nice, but at least it is playable and the image fluidity is nice. It's good enough, I would say, to enjoy the game. But is it pleasant? Not really. I had a better experience on the RTX 4060. Finally, let's take a look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. In contrast to Stalker 2, the RTX 4060 failed to deliver a good experience in this game purely because it didn't have enough VRAM. RTX 4060 has 8GB, the RTX 3060 has 12GB. So let's see if that increased VRAM buffer will make a difference, shall we? We are at 4K resolution using ultra graphics quality preset with 12GB of memory. We cannot go above that because going above that would just increase texture pool size, and to increase that we need at least 16GB of memory. But take a look at that. All other graphics settings are maxed out, and we are obviously not using full ray tracing. That would be too much, although this game does utilize ray tracing by default, just the basic form. We are using DLAA, no upscaling for now. And take a look at this beauty. 27, 26 FPS in this beautiful scene. We're using 11.4 gigabytes of VRAM. This looks better than Stalker 2, although this is not an open world game. Open world games are inherently more difficult for the GPU to handle. But damn, this looks good, and it looks promising, because if we're getting this kind of FPS at native resolution, just imagine what we can do with resolution upscaling. Let's set DLSS to quality. Okay, we are already at 40 plus FPS. The image looks smoother. The gameplay is nice. The shadows, the textures, they look beautiful. This is a much more pleasant experience than what we've had with the RTX 4060, where we had to use the lowest graphics quality preset because of that 8 GB VRAM limitation. But I've seen 38 FPS just then, so I think we should lower the resolution upscaling a little bit more. Let's try DLSS balanced. That didn't give us that much more in terms of performance, just a couple of FPS. But we're definitely getting closer to that 60 FPS target. So let's go ahead and select DLSS Performance mode. Nope, unfortunately we cannot resolve this performance issue by simply lowering resolution upscaling quality, although we are now at 50 plus FPS in certain scenes. This is pretty good, I would say. If you wanted to enjoy the beautiful picture that this game delivers, then I would say that this is the best settings configuration for that, because after all, this is one of the most graphically demanding levels in the game. In other levels, like the museum right here, we are getting 70 FPS in certain scenes, 60 plus in others, although there will be drops below 60 from time to time, even in areas like this one here. So I think it would be okay to use this configuration, but let's go a step further and try to achieve that 60 plus FPS even in the jungle scene. For that to happen, we have to lower the graphics quality a little bit. We can increase the texture pool size back to Ultra. That's not an issue because we do have enough video memory for that to happen. That doesn't affect performance at all. It appears now we are getting 50 plus FPS. This is pretty good, and the game still looks beautiful. Yeah, nice. I would say that this is a better experience compared to the previous settings configuration, because it is pretty much impossible to tell the difference between the two if we are not comparing side by side and pixel peeping. The game still looks beautiful, the lighting looks good, the shadows look okay, the textures are beautiful. I can't see any problem with the image presentation here. We could reduce the graphics quality even further to medium, for example, but I don't think it's necessary. Still, let's check it out. Even on medium, we are not getting a consistent 60 plus FPS experience. There are drops to around 56, 58, 59. But this is still pretty good. If you are after a fluid image at all times, then this could be it. This could be the way to play the game using the RTX 3060. Personally, when I'm using a budget-friendly GPU, I don't mind if FPS drops to around 50-ish in some of the most demanding scenes in the game, as long as it stays at 60 plus in other scenes that are more common. That's why I would choose to play this game on high graphics quality preset with DLSS set to performance. But as you can see, even on medium preset, in some scenes you'll experience 52 FPS, 54, yeah. It is still possible to drop to around 50-ish. But let's see what kind of experience we can get on the lowest graphics quality preset. And texture pool size, let's set it at least to high, because it doesn't affect performance. I definitely do not like playing games on low graphics quality preset, because it's just not the way the game is meant to be played. But you can't argue with that performance. We are now at 60 plus FPS consistently, so there's that. But the game looks a little less impressive. It doesn't look horrible. Still looks pretty good, especially compared to some other games I've played recently. Let's try one more settings configuration. Let's set the overall graphics quality to high, ultra texture pool size, and DLSS resolution upscaling to ultra performance. That is 720p upscaled to 4K. Now we're getting 60 plus FPS even on high graphics quality preset. 70 plus in this area, 60 plus in this area, and the image still looks pretty good. I mean, the overall presentation is softer, I would say. I think that would be the perfect term to describe the image presented on the screen. But there are no massive visual imperfections that I can spot with the naked eye. So this is a pretty good experience, I would say. On the 27-inch screen size, it is definitely better than native 1080p. I can tell you that much. It is much better. And that is exactly the reason why I don't like 1080p monitors anymore. It is much better to get yourself a 4K or a 1440p display to enjoy the games you play, because thanks to DLSS you can do this and still enjoy the games. And it's going to be much more enjoyable than playing it on a 1080p monitor. Yes, indeed, I found the perfect set of settings. This is the set of settings that I would use if I were playing this game on the 4K monitor using the RTX 3060. This is perfect. Check this out. We can get 90 FPS in other scenes. 80 plus. Nice. So, yeah. The game is very enjoyable using this set of settings. It looks good enough, and yeah, even with the software presentation, it is still fine. I mean, once you get closer to an object, you can still see everything clearly. The textures look sharp enough. Yeah, this is one of those cases where DLSS Ultra Performance works really well. And yeah, that just shows that certain games do it better than others. For example, in STALKER 2, DLSS Ultra Performance looked horrible, I would say. Not the kind of experience I want. But in this game, and in Path of Exile 2, it looks perfectly fine. In conclusion, the 12GB RTX 3060 still delivers a pretty good overall experience when paired with a 4K monitor, but it's becoming difficult to run some games, especially the ones that are extremely GPU demanding, like STALKER 2. A strange situation has developed between these two GPUs, the 3060 and the 4060. The 3060 with its 12GB of memory is better for certain games like Indiana Jones, for example, that require more video memory to run, and as a result the experience is quite horrible on the 4060 in such games. But then again, there are games like STALKER 2 that are much more GPU demanding, that run better and provide better experience on the 4060 compared to the 3060. So no matter which one you choose, you'll still lose in some cases. NVIDIA, what have you done? If only the RTX 4060 had 12 gigabytes of memory. I would say that the 3060 is still a pretty good card to buy in 2025, but just be prepared that in some games you'll have to use the lowest graphics quality preset as well as the lowest DLSS upscaling mode. Overall, the 4K experience using the RTX 3060 is much better than 1080p experience native, thanks to DLSS, of course. This is a pretty good choice. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this setup, and don't forget to reward my work with a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more if you haven't already. If you are interested in any of the products featured in this video, then you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.